Hey guys, Craig from Upstate Armory here. I just put some lead through this SKS and I figured I'd do a little bit of a rundown on how to take it apart, how to disassemble it and reassemble it, since I'm going to be cleaning it anyway. For those of you who are not familiar with the SKS platform, it is a 10 round 7.62 by 39 millimeter semi-automatic rifle, feeds from a fixed box magazine, and cheap to shoot, cheap to buy. Just a fun little rifle to have. So if you're looking for something, bigger than a 22 that you want to have some fun with, this is a good one to buy. So to start off with any weapon, of course, we make sure that it's clear. I already checked before the video just to show you guys. Chamber is empty. Magazine is empty as well. Nothing in there. At this point, we can go ahead and close the bolt by pushing the magazine follower down with one of our fingers, taking tension off of the mag hold open, or the bolt hold open, and after it starts to ride forward, release the bolt. Now we can take the dust cover off of the back of the receiver. You push up this little lever right here, just kind of, while it's sticking straight up in the air like that, start to wiggle it out towards you. Gets to that point, it just kind of pops off. That comes off. Now we can take out the recoil spring, pull that out the back of the bolt carrier. Now the bolt and bolt carrier are free to move on their own. So we can push those both to the back of the receiver and lift the carrier off the bolt, down on the side, and the bolt just lifts out of the receiver as well. See, it's pretty nasty from the 80 or so rounds that I put through it today. So at this point, the action itself is completely disassembled aside from the op rod and the piston and all that. So the next part we're going to do is the op rod and piston. You start off with that, with pulling up this little lever here, but you got to be very careful with it. As you guys may or may not be able to see, there are two indents on the sides of this lever. You got to pull it up, and I'll show you this in a second. You got to pull it up so this little indent is right on top of this part of the op rod housing. It cannot ride above, this little indent cannot ride above this little block of metal here, or else the op rod will take off like a rocket under spring tension. So we're going to push that up. It's gonna, you kind of got to be careful with it because it's easy to take off on you. So you see how I have it right there? That's how you want to have it. While holding it up in that position, we can pull the gas tube off and the handguard. Kind of wiggle it up and it'll pop right off. And then you gotta wiggle it backwards a little bit to get it free of the gas block. Takes a second. There it goes. At this point, we have the handguard and the gas piston together and off of the rifle. See here, we have our handguard. We have the piston sticking out the back. We can push on that. Piston comes right out of the gas tube. This thing should be nice and shiny, but obviously it's not, because of all the carbon on it. So we lay those aside at this point. Now this next part is also a little bit finicky, and it is regarding the op rod. Right here you can see the op rod sticking out of this little housing. If I push on that, I know it's hard to see. Let me get a screwdriver. That's our op rod right there. We can push it on. It is under spring tension. So that's why, as I mentioned before, you don't want to lift this up any more than you have to, or else it'll take off. So while putting a little bit of tension on that with your finger, you can now lift this up the rest of the way and slowly take your finger off, and out comes your op rod with the spring. At this point, pretty much everything, all the the action, the gas system, everything is disassembled at this point. All that's left to do is take the magazine and trigger group off of the stock. You do that by laying it upside down on a nice firm surface like this, and get this in close so you guys can see. You can see a little divot right here, a little pin, and pushing that in will release the trigger group from the rest of the rifle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the screwdriver. Also, the safety has to be on to do this, otherwise it will not work. You have the safety engaged, put pressure on this button, push down and in, and the trigger group will pop out. At this point, you just lift it out. There it is, everything you need. And releasing the trigger group frees the magazine. So you can pull that up, it kind of pivots out. And there is our magazine. So at this point, there is nothing holding the barrel and receiver into the stock, aside from sort of the bayonet. You can take it off without opening up the bayonet, but we're going to do that either way. Your rifle may not have a bayonet on it, but if it does, you open it up about halfway so it's sticking straight down, and now it is out of the way of the stock. You pull forward on the barrel, forward and kind of up. So you may have to push down on it a little bit, but the barrel and the receiver comes out of the gun. Put the bayonet back up, and I'll show you guys this. One thing that you may want to do in addition is to take the cleaning rod out. If you have a cleaning kit, you probably won't use it ever, but we're going to go down to the bare bones on this. So open up the bayonet like we had before, sticking straight down. And the cleaning rod, it's a little finicky, you got to play with it a little bit, but it'll work its way out. You pull it forward out of the gun like that. So there you have it. There's the SKS completely disassembled. And to assemble it, pretty much reversing the process. I'm actually not going to show you how I reassemble the rifle, but I just, simple enough to go backwards. Follow the steps backwards. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, but is very important, is when you're reassembling the rifle and you're putting the recoil spring back in the carrier, this kind of squiggly looking end is going to be the part that actually feeds into the carrier like that. You do not want this sticking out the back. Alright, hope this helped, guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll try to respond to them. Thanks for watching.